Hi everyone, Lord Crew here and welcome to my channel. So the topic for today is about Magic Meta for Weekend Rank Week 131. So without further guys, let's proceed. So good news for the Magic players. Currently, Magic is now the second with the highest total win rate, second to War. And there's like also increase in terms of popularity for Magic. And as you can notice, Magic is now currently the fourth highest fourth uh in terms of popularity. Nature still the number one were each 31% and sec followed by war 23% and then deception. There's an increased number of players who played deception for this weekend rank, but before magic are like literally 10% and below in terms of like popularity, but there's a increase of it, especially as you can notice uh light has been now the poorest in terms of total win rate, and magic is becoming stable now for the past 2 weeks. Or for the past 2 weekend rank, Magic are now literally on the positive side, especially on the above 50% in total win rate. So if we check a little bit further regarding on the archetype, as you can notice, the top three deck, Magic are technically top four are board wipe deck, control war, followed by clone magic and card draw magic. Card draw magic, aka the tempo magic. The main reason why it's supposed to be like a tempo magic, more on spells and controlling the board, but because of like the card draw capability, that's the main reason why instead of like naming it tempo, they call it card draw because they're relying in or on card draw like the All Seeing Eye, Palace of the One, and Vortimir, the legendary creature. And as you can notice, for the card draw, it's only like almost 9%, and the other are like breakdown into the other archetype. So good side, the card draw magic has like a 52.8% higher than the nature. Nature are like literally below, higher than the mid range control, but still the dominant deck or dominant meta deck, still the board wipe deck. But the card draw magic has like a positive, uh, good win rate versus the two uh, famous archetype like the board wipe and control. As you can notice, he has 52% versus board wipe, 50% versus the control wall. The only downside he has is like fighting the Zoolite and the nature aggro. But both of those aggro and Zoolite are literally a small percentage, like 7.1, and the aggro are like 2%. So still card draw magic is still like one of the most popular and most strong meta. And now if we go for the net deck, if we check the top 20, on the weekend rank. Technically, on the top 20, the most dominant decks still are the War. There are like 10 players who managed to enter the top 20. Eight of them are Control War, two are using mid-range. But for the Magic, there are like total three players who enter the top 20 using a card draw Magic here. And first thing first, we're gonna go for on the rank 6. Labu 2504, he managed to get 23 out of 25. So almost similar win rate to War Control. So if we check Labu, uh, Card Draw Magic, as you can see here, this is like for me, there are like two kinds of Card Draw Magic: the Spell Boost Magic, Tempo Spell Boost, and the other one is the Tempo Aggro. The Tempo Aggro are relying on the early board creature and using Oni Spell Sword to rely more damage, because not compare that one with the spell boost. They're relying on spell boost and then spells to kill the opponent. So this kind of meta are using the card draw because of the Palace one, Vortimir the Volatile, and All Seeing Eye. As you can notice, there are like total of 4 card draw cards here. If you got managed to get those cards early round, it means you have like unlimited supply of uh, spells, like those one to cast spells. So I think the main combo here are flooding the board early round with the creature, relying on his spells to protect his own other creature and deals damage based on it. So this is like an aggressive type. Me, every time I play card draw, I don't play card draw early rounds, but I noticed some of the card draw using this tempo aggro, they even play spell sword, only spell sword in turn 3. Me, I save it for turn 5 and 6. If I'm like I feel like uh it's secured now, not be killed by the opponent, because especially for against like war control, they have blitz and weapon that kill him technically. But if you're like facing aggro, like nature or light, you can like play him because you know that if they do a spells, it not be affected by because he has ward. But it so technically it depending on the your opponent. But literally they gonna try to flood the board with creatures and try to do early creature damage. He's using Monolith Storm for a little bit end game or in the mid range to deals damage and spells on the late game. So technically your Wimbret is your finale spell boost or attack it with Oni spell sword. So based on this archetype, he has only one flying carpet. Uh, he added mages here as a. This is like another tech card that he had. This is my first time to see mages in card draw tempo magic. Usually I saw two flying carpet, but him one flying carpet probably added mages here, the spectral philosophy here to add more spells, form of wisdom, form of power, and form of unity here. So as you can see, we have like form of power here already, and we'll add two more of other form of power. That's it. So play style, be aggressive a little bit early round, use card draw, to gain more cards, especially spells to control the board and deals more massive damage. So another card draw magic here in rank 11, guys, by the unknown player. He managed to get 22 out of 25, almost same. Instead of having flying carpet, he using pyramid warden. Some players, the cheaper version, instead of playing pyramid warden, they use skeleton heavy, the Anubian card, and almost like identical here. That's the only replacement. Still has four card draw power, Palace, Vortimir, and Olsing. Some player, the cheaper one also, they don't have Palace one because we all know Palace one are getting expensive now. So they're only relying on Vortimir and Olsing. But him, he has like all the four cards and still same specs of like ancient form and Oni. So expect like once they play Oni, they can like use ancient text and vow of learning to give him protect to make him because the big source of damage for this card draw magic or tempo aggro are coming from Oni spell sword, followed by spells like Wimbred and Monolith for later game. So another card draw are rank 19. Rank 19 card draw magic by J Rock 96. He managed to get 22 out of 25 also. This is like as you can notice, I believe this is like a little bit like a spell boost magic because he has been using Epiphany to deal massive damage to opponent. Uh he has two Oni. So this is like a hybrid between the tempo aggro and the spell boost. The one advantage of the spell boost, they have like Epiphany and they have like Scepter of Artistry. But as you can notice, he has no Scepter of Artistry. So probably he's trying to rely in two things. Either a big creature damage from Oni Spell Sword and also by a like a big heavy spells from Wimbret and Epiphany. Epiphany downside, you have to wait 6 turn, but six casting cost for 6 damage plus draw is literally a big massive damage for like a mid game or end game. All seeing eye, he still has the 4 card draw, and he does not have the flying carpet or a Nubian skeleton or pyramid warden. I believe he added Epiphany here, almost same. He's added enchanted chariot here to get a structure. So technically, the main purpose is to get either the Monolith Storm early or get the All-Seeing Spire. So that's another tech up that he added here, the Enchanted Chariot, because structure are All-Seeing Spire and Monolith. Monolith, good for the end game to kill your opponent. But if you're like having trouble with card draw, once you play Enchanted Chariot, you have like opportunity to play All-Seeing Eye next turn because high chance it might get from the Enchanted Trial. So, a good tech up here that I noticed. No, a little bit aggressive. That's why probably this like a hybrid of aggro, because you don't see any two flying carpet or pyramid warden, and he has pyramid epiphany here for a massive end game damage here. So a hybrid, let's say hybrid of the aggro and the spell boost. Okay, so that's the meta for the top 20 deck. There's also like popularity if you notice, if, we once we compare it back to the archetype, especially for Magic. Uh, as you can notice, there are like lots of archetype, but the most famous one are the card draw, 8%. The rest are like below 3%. The control magic is another. Uh, there since the Geo deck updated the archetype, they removed the others. They make sure like every deck has like fallen into a certain archetype. So control magic, and it if we compare with the other control deck like nature and war, anything that has more 7 casting costs are considered under control. Mid-range, anything that has 6 casting costs and below. And aggro means you have like a lots of 1 casting cost, 2 casting cost, 3 casting cost, and relying on more on heavy creatures to kill your opponent or spells. And as you can notice, there's no aggro here, but there's a control magic and clone magic. Clone magic, if you check that one, the clone magic are literally a build where you're gonna flood your board with Portal Ranger. So it's a combo deck where you're gonna use Warp Engineer to make his casting cost 0, and then clone it to flood your board with this 3/4 in turn 5 or probably in turn 6, and then use Form of Unity to deals massive spell damage because you already filled the board with 9 with a lot of 3/4. You can like do use this one once you attack using Portal Wrangler. So this is like a famous deck, but there are like only a few players playing it. And the most key card here, the most important key card here are the loss in depth, because the loss in depth once cast, you will remove all your one casting cost. So as you can see, there are like 20 to 1 casting cost. If you cast loss in depth, you will remaining with the total of 8 cards. That for you to build your finish or like your combo. Portal Wrangler, clone, and form of unity to kill your opponent. Now, if your opponent did not manage to get the loss in depth, that's the problem. He might have like a low chance of taking up. But since there was like a buff on the clear mind, before it was like 1 casting cost, 1 for C. Now it's a 1 casting cost, 2 for C. And that's why there's a comeback of clone magic because of clear mind. Imagine you're gonna clear mind, look for loss in depth or your combo cards. So that's the main point of clear mind. Get lost in depth quickly, or get your combo cards as soon as possible, and then play it on. So these guys will be played on turn 4. He will play 2 Warp Engineer to make Portal Wrangler to 0 casting cost, and then next turn he can go clone and flooded the board with Portal Wrangler. Once he did that, guys, you will follow up next turn with attack and then form of unity. So that's the combo here. Another one gating, like I mentioned, the control war. So I don't know why this is like a control magic part of the top 10. I noticed like he has no ramp here. But as you can see, he has like Demogorgon, Hylian Elite, Cersei, Archimedes here. This is like similar to a ramp magic. But you don't see any ramp cards here. Anything that has like more 7 casting cost creature are considered control archetype. And as you see, another control archetype, almost like similar to a ramp magic. He has like tip of elixir and lots of 7 and 8 6 casting costs. And this card, as you can see, a little bit ramp, and then play a lot of structures and big minion to kill the opponent. Okay, so that's another there's another archetype called structure magic, where they use the more on structure, but that one is not famous in mythic rank, usually in the lower rank, like especially Ethereal Diamond and below. These two deck that I show you about the control are the famous deck in mythic rank. Okay, guys, if you like the video, kindly please subscribe and like. And if you have like question or suggestion, kindly please leave me a comment. And thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in season.